Hey everyone, welcome back to Boo Boo Update. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button for all the latest updates on Mama June family. Today, we've got something exciting to talk about, Honey Boo Boo family. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. So grab a seat, and let's dive right in. Reality Rewinders, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving deep, and I mean deep, into a story that has been bubbling just beneath the surface of one of reality TV's most turbulent families. We're talking about the Efirds. Specifically, we're talking about Josh Efird, the man who married into the Shannon Thompson Efird dynasty, and his wife Lauren Pumpkin Efird, the woman who has become its reluctant and often exhausted matriarch. For years, we've watched their struggles play out on our screens. We've seen financial woes, custody battles, and the ever-present shadow of addiction that looms over this family. But today we're discussing an event that didn't happen on camera, an event that sources close to the family are calling a Category 5 hurricane of chaos. Today we're talking about the day Josh Efird decided to throw a grand alcohol party. A no-holds-barred, boys will be boys blowout in the heart of their Georgia suburb. And the special guest, the one person whose arrival would inevitably turn the party from a celebration into a confrontation, none other than Pumpkin herself. This isn't just a story about a party. This is a story about pressure, responsibility, the ghosts of the past, and the breaking point of a woman who has been holding her family together with little more than willpower and duct tape. So grab your drink, get comfortable, because we're about to break down, minute by minute, the anatomy of a disaster. This is Josh Efird's Grand Bender. It all started, as most disasters do, on a beautiful, unassuming day. The sun was shining over Wilkinson County, Georgia. The kids were at school or with a sitter. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, the Efird household was quiet. But this quiet was not for relaxation. It was the calm before the storm. For Josh Efird, this quiet was a blank canvas, and he was about to paint a masterpiece of mayhem. The idea in his mind was simple. It was innocent, even. He called it the first annual Josh Efird, Thank God It's Friday Backyard Bash. He'd been working hard. Double shifts at the garage, side hustles, all under the constant pressure of providing for a family of 6. He felt he deserved a break. A real one. Not a quiet night watching cartoons with the kids, but a throwback to his younger, more carefree days. Josh, yo boys. Backyard bash at my place today. Starts at 3. Bring beer. Friend 1, hell yeah man, I'm in. Friend 2, finally. I'll grab a case of PBR. Josh, nah man, we're going bigger. I got 2 kegs coming. Friend 3 kegs. Bro, you're a legend. The texts went out like a call to arms. The guest list wasn't exclusive. It was a motley crew of Josh's work buddies, old high school friends, and a few neighbors who had always been curious about the family the TV crews were always filming. And as the RSVPs flooded in, Josh began the preparations. This wasn't going to be a few guys sitting in lawn chairs with a cooler. This was an event. Josh. Alright, table 1 for the cups. Table 2 for the hard stuff. Can't forget the hard stuff. Let's talk about the hard stuff, because this is a crucial detail. According to our hypothetical sources, Josh wasn't just planning on beer. While the 2 kegs of domestic light beer were the main event, he also made a trip to the local liquor store. On the menu was a handle of cheap whiskey, the kind that burns on the way down and fuels bad decisions. A bottle of tequila, complete with a salt shaker and a bag of Browning limes. And for some reason, a bottle of peach schnapps, perhaps a nostalgic nod to the Georgia landscape. This arsenal of alcohol is important because it speaks to Josh's state of mind. This wasn't about savoring a craft brew. This was about quantity. It was about achieving a certain state of oblivion, a temporary escape from the crushing weight of his life. A life that, by all accounts, he chose, but one that was proving to be more challenging than he ever could have imagined. Now let's pause here. For any normal guy, a backyard party is just a backyard party. But for Josh Efird, it's different. We, as viewers of the show, know his history. We've seen the discussions about his past, his need to stay on the straight and narrow, not just for himself, but for his kids and for Pumpkin. There has always been a tension there, the fun-loving good old boy versus the responsible husband and father he needs to be. And this party, with its kegs and its handle of whiskey, felt like a deliberate step back into the good old boy persona. It was a declaration of independence from the responsibilities that defined his daily existence. Meanwhile, where was Pumpkin in all of this? Well, she was blissfully unaware. She was out running errands, a marathon of grocery shopping, picking up prescriptions, and buying diapers. The one day she had a few hours to herself was the very day her husband was planning to turn their family home into a frat house. The special guest, as Josh had jokingly called her in a text to a friend, had no idea she was about to walk into the main event. By 5 p.m., the backyard bash was no longer a plan. It was a living, breathing entity. The air, thick with Georgia humidity, now also carried the scent of spilled beer and cheap barbecue. The sound of Trace Adkins blasting from a tiny speaker was punctuated by whoops and hollers as someone inevitably missed the cornhole board entirely. Josh was in his element. He moved through the crowd not as a host, but as a king overseeing his court. He was holding a red Solo cup, a wide grin plastered on his face. He was laughing, telling stories, and encouraging ever greater feats of drunken buffoonery. Josh. Attaboy, Dave. Drink it. You ain't leavin' till you see the bottom of that cup. Friend 1. Hey Josh. Where's the wife at? She gonna come shut this down? Josh. Nah, my Pumpkin's cool. She gets it. She knows I needed this. Besides, she's out doing her thing. This is a guy's day. No wives allowed. Pumpkin's cool. For words doing an incredible amount of heavy lifting. Because we, the audience, know that Pumpkin is not cool with this type of behavior. For years, her primary role in the family has been the designated adult. While her mother, Mama June, chased her own chaotic romances and her sister Alana navigated the pitfalls of teenage stardom, Pumpkin was at home, raising kids, paying bills, and worrying. Worrying was her full-time job, and right now, miles away, her worrydar was starting to ping. Josh's. Yo, you've reached Josh. Leave a message. Or don't. Whatever. Pumpkin. Where the heck are you? You were supposed to help me bring this stuff in. I couldn't believe it. It was like a scene from a bad movie. Our yard, the yard where my kids play, had been turned into this. All I could see were red cups and bodies. And the noise of it felt like a violation. Like all the peace and quiet I had fought so hard to build in our home had just been obliterated for a keg of cheap beer. I parked the car, and I just sat there for a second, my hands gripping the steering wheel. I took a deep breath because I knew I couldn't go in there angry. But oh my God, I was angry. The special guest had arrived, and the entire tone of the party was about to change. She walked through the gate into her own backyard, and it was like the record scratched. The music was still playing, but a ripple of awareness spread through the crowd. Heads turned. The laughter became a little more subdued. Josh, who was in the middle of demonstrating how to properly throw a cornhole bag, saw her. His smile faltered, just for a second, before he plastered it back on, wider and more strained than before. Josh. Hey babe. You're back. Look, the guys and me are just having a little get-together. Pumpkin. A little get-together, Josh? There are 2 kegs in my yard. My yard, where Bentley and Ella are supposed to play tomorrow. Who are all these people? Josh. They're just my friends, honey. Relax. Have a drink. Pumpkin. I don't want a drink, Josh. I want an explanation. You did all this without even talking to me? Josh. I work hard, Pumpkin. I deserve to have some fun. It's not a big deal. It's just a party. We'll clean it up. Pumpkin. It's always just a party with you, isn't it? And there it is. The first shot fired in what would become an evening-long war. Pumpkin's arrival wasn't just an interruption. It was a mirror. It forced Josh to see the party not through his own beer-goggled eyes, but through hers. And what she saw was not fun. She saw irresponsibility. She saw a step backward. She saw a mess that she, inevitably, would be the one to clean up, both literally and figuratively. The grand bender had just met its immovable object. The question now was, what would happen when the unstoppable force of Josh's desire for a good time crashed headlong into the brick wall of Pumpkin's exhaustion? Josh. Hey. You okay? Pumpkin. I'm fine. Just putting away the food that our family needs to eat. Sorry to interrupt what did you call it? The backyard bash? Josh. Pumpkin, come on. Don't be like that. I told you we'll clean everything up. Pumpkin. We. You mean me, right? Me and maybe Jessica if I call her crying while you're passed out on the couch tomorrow with a hangover. Is that the we you're talking about? Josh. That's not fair. I pull my weight. I work my ass off for this family. Pumpkin. Working hard doesn't give you a free pass to be a reckless teenager, Josh. Look out there. Look at it. It's embarrassing. What are the neighbors going to think? What happens when one of your drunk friends breaks something? Or gets in a fight? Who deals with that? Me. It all falls on me. Pumpkin. Every word I said was fueled by years of this. Years of being the responsible one. It wasn't even about the party anymore. It was about the pattern. It was the feeling that no matter how hard I worked to build a stable life for our kids, he could tear it all down in one afternoon because he was bored. It felt like I was the only one rowing the boat, and he was drilling holes in the bottom because it was fun. Josh. Nothing is going to happen. Everyone's just having a good time. You're overreacting. You always do this. You suck the fun out of everything. Pumpkin. Suck the fun out of things? I am the only reason you have a life that you can have fun in. While you're out here playing beer pong, I'm the one making sure the kids have clean clothes, that the lights stay on, that there's a plan. I'm sorry if my plan gets in the way of you reliving your glory days, but we have 4 children, Josh. 4. Their well-being is a little more important than Dave doing a keg stand. Alana. Did we miss the memo? Is there a reason our backyard looks like a scene from Project X? Jessica. Oh no. They're fighting. The arrival of Alana and Jessica was like pouring gasoline on a fire. They were witnesses. Their presence amplified the shame and the anger. For Pumpkin, it was confirmation that Josh's irresponsibility was now a public spectacle for the whole family to see. For Josh, it was another layer of judgment, another person to be defensive in front of. Josh. Hey. It's not a big deal. We're just having a party. Alana. A party? Josh, it's Tuesday. And is that a bottle of whiskey on the table next to the grill? I thought you weren't supposed to, you know. Pumpkin. Yeah, Josh. Tell her. Tell your sister-in-law why there's a handle of whiskey out there when you know damn well you have a problem. Josh. I haven't touched it. It's for the guys. I've only had beer. God. You automatically assume the worst of me. Pumpkin. Assume the worst? I've lived the worst with this family, Josh. I've seen where just a few drinks leads. It leads to broken promises, pawn shops, and court dates. Why would you even put yourself in that position? Why would you bring that temptation into our home? This is the heart of the matter. This is why this was never just a party. For Pumpkin, the presence of that liquor was a betrayal. It was Josh willingly dancing with the devil she had spent years trying to exorcise from their lives. Whether he drank it or not was almost irrelevant. The fact that it was there, that he had bought it and offered it to others, showed a shocking lack of judgment, a disregard for the tightrope he was supposed to be walking. Friend 1. Whoa. Dude, you okay? Drunk friend. I'm good. The fence is not. Pumpkin. Okay. Party's over. Everybody out. No. Pumpkin. I said get out. The party is over. Go home. The broken fence was more than just a broken fence. It was a symbol. It was the physical collapse of Josh's fantasy. His attempt to escape his responsibilities had literally come crashing down, leaving behind a mess he couldn't ignore. And as his friends shuffled out into the night, He was left alone to face the person he had wronged the most. The quiet that followed the chaos was 1,000 times louder than the party had ever been. The silence that descended upon the Efirds' backyard was heavy and suffocating. The ghost of the party remained, in the smell of stale beer and the debris strewn across the grass. Alana and Jessica had quietly taken their leave, sensing that the real storm was yet to come. It was just Josh and Pumpkin, standing in the wreckage of his good time. Josh. Pumpkin. I'm sorry. Pumpkin. Sorry for what, Josh? Sorry for the party? For the fence? For the whiskey? Or are you just sorry you got caught, Josh? No. I'm sorry for all of it. It got out of hand. I don't know what I wanted. I just felt like I was suffocating. Like all I do is work and pay bills and be dad. I wanted to feel like myself again for one night. Pumpkin. Yourself? Who is that, Josh? Is yourself the 19-year-old kid with no responsibilities? Because that guy is gone. He doesn't exist anymore. This is you. This life, these kids, me. This is who you are. And if you're suffocating in it, what do you think I'm doing? Pumpkin. I haven't had a night off in 8 years. I haven't had a single day where I wasn't worried about something. About money, about my mom, about Alana, about the kids. And about you. Worrying about you, Josh. Worrying if you're okay. If you're going to stay on track. If you're going to make a stupid decision that will blow up our entire lives. My whole life is making sure everyone else is okay. Who the hell is making sure I'm okay? Pumpkin. You bring kegs and liquor into the home I have fought to make safe. You invite chaos into the one place on this earth where our kids are supposed to feel secure. And you do it because you're suffocating? You have no idea what that word even means. I am suffocating under the weight of your irresponsibility. I am drowning, Josh. And instead of throwing me a life raft, you threw a party. Josh. I'm so sorry, Lauren. Pumpkin. Don't say you're sorry. I don't want to hear it. I've heard sorry my whole life from everybody in this family. Sorry doesn't fix offense. Sorry doesn't erase the memory of this from the neighbors' minds. And sorry doesn't make me trust you. Pumpkin. I had reached my limit. It wasn't about love anymore. I love Josh, I do. But sometimes love isn't enough. I needed a partner, not another child to look after. And in that moment, standing in our trashed backyard, I felt more alone than I ever have in my entire life. I looked at him, and I just felt nothing. Just a deep, profound tiredness. Pumpkin. I'm going to go check on the kids. You can clean this up. All of it. And tomorrow, you're going to go next door and you're going to apologize to the Hendersons and you're going to pay to have that fence fixed. You're going to fix this. Not me. Josh was left alone in the darkness, surrounded by the physical evidence of his failure. This was his rock bottom. Not a dramatic, on-camera intervention, but a quiet, devastating moment in his own backyard. The party was over. The fun was gone. All that was left was the mess and the crushing realization that he may have broken something far more important than a fence. He may have finally broken his wife's spirit. What we've just walked through is more than a hypothetical fight. It's a case study in the anatomy of a relationship under extreme pressure. To truly understand the fallout of Josh's grand bender, we need to break down the psychological and emotional components at play here. This isn't just reality TV drama. It's a very real human story about addiction, codependency, and the crushing weight of generational trauma. First, let's talk about Josh. His actions, while inexcusable, don't come from a place of pure malice. They come from a place of desperation. Think about his position. He's a young man who is, by society's standards, the man of the house. He's expected to be the provider, the rock, the stable force. But he's doing it within the chaotic ecosystem of the Shannon family. He's constantly being measured against the low bar set by others in their past, like Sugar Bear, while also trying to manage the high expectations set by Pumpkin, who desperately craves normalcy. The party wasn't just a party. It was a regression. It was an attempt to reclaim an identity that was his before he became Pumpkin's husband and father of 4. In psychology, this is a common, albeit dysfunctional, coping mechanism. When the pressure of your current reality becomes too much, you retreat to a time when things were simpler. For Josh, simpler meant beer, buddies, and no consequences. The problem is, you can't go back. His attempt to visit his past only ended up mortgaging his future with Pumpkin. And the inclusion of hard liquor? That's the most troubling piece of this puzzle. For someone with a history of substance issues, or even someone who has been repeatedly warned about their behavior while drinking, bringing a handle of whiskey into the home is a form of self-sabotage. It's either a cry for help, signaling that he's struggling more than he's letting on, or it's an act of profound denial, a way of saying, I'm in control, I can have it around and not touch it, which is one of the most dangerous games an addict can play. It showed a fundamental misunderstanding, or a willful ignorance, of the seriousness of the situation. Now, let's turn to Pumpkin. Her reaction was the culmination of years of suppressed frustration. Pumpkin is what we call the family hero or the caretaker in the context of a dysfunctional family system. She's the one who overcompensates for the deficits of others. Her mother's addiction and absence forced her into a parental role for Alana. Now, she finds herself in a similar dynamic with her own husband, where she feels she has to parent him as well. Her line, I am suffocating under the weight of your irresponsibility, is one of the most powerful and honest things she could have said. It's the core of her entire existence. This is a woman who has likely never had the luxury of being irresponsible. Every choice she makes is weighed against the needs of 5 other people. Her breaking point wasn't the party itself. It was the symbolism. It was the blatant disregard for the sanctuary she had tried to build. A home is supposed to be a safe space. Josh, by inviting that level of chaos into their yard, violated that sanctuary. He proved to her that nowhere was safe from the drama, not even their own home. And her decision at the end, to make him clean it up, to make him apologize, to force him to take ownership, is a critical turning point. For years, Pumpkin has enabled this behavior, not out of malice, but out of necessity. She cleans up the messes because if she doesn't, who will? But by doing so, she inadvertently shields Josh from the full consequences of his actions. This time, by stepping back and saying, you fix this, she is changing the dynamic. It's a painful, difficult step, but it's the only way to break the cycle of codependency. She's moving from being his caretaker to being his partner, and that transition requires him to step up in a way he never has before. So what's the fallout? In the short term, it's a broken fence and a silent, tense household. Josh will have to do the walk of shame to the neighbor's house. He'll have to clean the yard. He will likely be in the doghouse for weeks, maybe months. But the long-term fallout is much more significant. Trust has been shattered. Pumpkin's emotional reserves, already critically low, have been completely depleted. This event will become a new chapter in the story of their relationship, a new wound that can be reopened in future arguments. It's a scar. Can they recover? Yes. Relationships can survive things like this. But it requires a fundamental change from Josh. It requires more than a simple, I'm sorry. It requires a demonstration, over a long period, that he understands the gravity of what he did. It requires him to actively choose his family over his desire for a good time. He needs to find healthier ways to cope with the pressure he's under, ways that don't involve turning his family's safe space into a liability. And for Pumpkin, it requires her to hold that boundary, to continue to demand that he be an equal partner, to resist the urge to step in and fix his messes. It's a hard road for both of them. This grand bender may have been a one-night event, but its shockwaves will be felt in the Efird household for years to come. It forced a crisis, and in doing so, may have forced an opportunity for real, lasting change. The question is, will they take it? Or is this just another dramatic episode in a never-ending cycle of chaos? Only time will tell. That's all we have.